right. Our Week 6 subscriber battle continues here on Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. We are at 439 new subscribers this week. I feel good about that. But the Commanders report is right on our heels. A little secret for you guys, they randomly have videos that pop off for like 200 new subscribers. So if you want to take them down in new subscribers and on the field on Monday night, hit that subscribe button. Free and daily Bears content. All right. Caleb Williams opened up about the game last year. His thoughts on that, how he handled it then, how he's trying to handle tough moments moving forward. And he hit on a few other topics as well in his latest press conference, and I thought we would just kind of react to all of that here because I thought he had some good stuff to say overall. But let's talk about the game last year. He was obviously asked about the loss to Washington and, if he was still upset about it, so on and so forth. Here's what he had to say this week. Quote, he says, "Does it still sting? Obviously, you never want to lose, especially in that fashion on a Hail Mary. So does it bother me? Yeah, in the sense of I want to win every game that we got." And, he had a little bit more in that answer, and it was kind of one of those where it's like, it bothers him. I don't think he's dwelling on it so much, and I think there's a happy medium there. I hope it bothers everyone who was on the team last year, right? Because that derailed the season. And these players, not just on the coaches, they kind of let it derail the season, right? I mean, look at what happened after there. You lose 9 more in a row, 10 straight losses total. 3 of those were consecutive divisional heartbreaks. That overtime game against the Vikings, you have the field goal blocked against the Packers, and then we all know what happened on Thanksgiving against the Detroit Lions, the end of Matt Eberflus. Shane Waldron was fired in that stretch. Matt Eberflus was fired in that stretch. Regardless of the reasons, who to blame, that loss was the end of the season. It completely derailed the season, and there's plenty of blame to go around. The coaches certainly deserve blame. The players deserve blame. It collapsed. And so I hope it still bothers them. That doesn't mean you need to make this game more than what it is. But at the same time, I'm expecting a little bit of intensity here when it comes to this game on Monday night. I want to ask you as a fan, does last year's loss to Washington still bother you? Because it still bothers me. I've been thinking about it all week. I've been playing that Hail Mary in my head all week long because they're going to be showing it a lot. And to me, there's a little extra juice in this matchup. There's been some beef on social media. I'm sure you guys have seen that as well. It still bothers me because it derailed the whole season last year and it completely fell apart. So I'm typing my wife for yes. I want to know if you guys are still bothered by it. All right. Caleb also discussed his and the team's approach to this week. Now that they're playing them again, it's almost a year later, all that stuff. Here's what he had to say. He said, being able to orchestrate this game and this week and having the guys focus on what we need to focus on, that's where I'm at. We're not trying to go down the rabbit hole of revenge or anything like that. It's being able to focus on us. This team is different than last year. The coaching is obviously different. A bunch of things are different. So being able to focus on us and leading these guys the way they need to be led and being able to focus on what we need to focus on to be able to go win a game, that's where we're at. And look, I did a full preview about, and I titled it Make It Personal. And I still mean that, but I don't mean it in a way of you can't make this game more than what it is. And the revenge element is probably a bigger thing among fans because, listen, if you have too much of that as a player, that's where you can get into trouble. Are you playing through after the whistle? Are you getting personal fouls? Are the emotions taking over? Because you're going to be on the road. It's a tense environment. Sure, there's going to be emotions involved, but you got to stay focused. You got to stay dialed in. This game isn't about last year, at least not for the players. Sure, when it's over and they win and they're asked, does it feel good to beat them after last year? I would expect the answer to be yes. But at the end of the day, it's a 60-minute football game, just like it was 2 weeks ago against the Las Vegas Raiders. So I think it's probably something that's there for the guys who were on the team last year. But what you don't want to do is all week hype it up. Yeah, we're here to get revenge. It's all about righting that wrong from last year. It's about winning a football game at the end of the day. And I think the revenge angle of it, that's more for me and you, right? That's a talking point for us, even if it's not a complete nothing burger for the players. You don't want to make it more than what it is. Today's show is sponsored by Ethos. Get yourself life insurance, folks. It's important. It's one of the most important investments you can make in your family. Now with Ethos, you can get covered and protected in minutes with rates as low as $2 per day billed monthly. You can also get up to $3 million in coverage. As a husband and as a father, having life insurance is absolutely critical. It's something I do not take lightly. Ethos is revolutionizing the industry when it comes to life insurance with a 100% online process and can provide protection for you and your loved ones. With Ethos, you can get life insurance in as little as 10 minutes. They have no medical exams, just a few easy health questions online. Their 100% online and hassle-free process makes it very easy to apply. You'll get a quote in as little as 10 minutes. You can get same-day coverage without ever leaving your house. As of March 2025, Business Insider named Ethos the #1 no medical exam instant life insurance provider. So don't take my word for it. Take theirs. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get up to $3 million in coverage in as little as 10 minutes at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That is ethos.com/NFL Daily. Application times may vary. Rates may vary as well. That link is in the comments and description of this video. Do not mess around. Life insurance is critical. Ethos has awesome coverage. Ethos.com/NFL Daily to get started today and to get a free quote. Okay, Caleb also was asked, hey, what did you learn, about losing an emotional game like that and how things unraveled after? Like, what did you learn about how to handle those situations? And here's what Caleb had to say on that. He said, I learned that I got to do a better job in those situations. We had those first 2 games this year, and I think I did a better job of coming into the facility and moving on. Those are tough games, especially to start the season against divisional opponents. So being able to come in here, be the same guy, but also understand that my energy, my attitude, how I come in here, whether it's a win or loss, affects everyone in the building. I think it starts with myself when things aren't going right or when they are, and being the same guy. And I think that is important. And I think when you think back to when Ben first took the job, and remember he was like, hey, something we talked about with certain guys was like body language, kind of talking about attitude. I think Caleb probably fell into that bucket. Like, hey, you're the quarterback. Your energy, how you are when things are going good, but especially when things aren't, like it matters. It matters. So you have to be that level-headed guy and people that gravitate toward you. You can't force leadership onto someone, but you can emphasize how you act in terms of like just how you carry yourself, how you communicate with your teammates, your coaches. And something I've seen really going back to the offseason, training camp, and especially up to now is like I see maturation. And we talked about that with Tyreek Stevenson this week. I see a more mature, level-headed guy in Caleb Williams. I think he understands to be a franchise quarterback. Part of that is the leadership aspect of it. And everyone leads differently. And some guys are natural at it. Some guys aren't. Some guys are vocal. Some guys aren't. I don't think you have to be a rah-rah guy to be a leader, but you have to be someone that teammates can look toward. And I think I've seen a guy that seems more approachable this year than probably we saw last year, if we're being completely fair. And I think we got to give Ben Johnson a lot of credit for that, this coaching staff. I think they have built a kind of, I don't know if community is the right word, but a locker room of accountability. Hey, we're going to hold you guys accountable, hold us accountable, let's do this thing together. And I think Caleb has really, really bought into that and understanding that, like, whether he likes it or not, and I think he does like it because he's been a quarterback his whole life, like, the eyes are on him, not just on the outside, but especially those inside the building. And then lastly, and we talked about this a little bit last week, and we did a full video about this, but he was asked about, hey, why do you feel comfortable in crunch time situations when it's time to go score to tie or take a lead? This is what he had to say. He said, I think it gets to a point where it's just a switch in my mind, in our minds, talking about the rest of the team, that it's our time. It's time to go win the game. Nothing else matters. Nothing is more important than that play, drive, or moment. You take a deep breath, give yourself some positive information, and be as calm as you can with your teammates. Listen, there's haters out there. There's glazers out there for all players in all sports. One thing that I don't think you can dispute, we've seen it time and time again, is in big spots, Caleb has played well, and he has delivered. Now, for varying circumstances, they have not always won, despite him putting them in position to either go kick a game-winning field goal or taking a late lead and then defense giving up a Hail Mary or a coach not call. Whatever the case may be, they haven't always won, but on more than one or two occasions in his short career, he has delivered in a big spot. 6 that come to mind immediately, and there were a few others you could point to as well. Obviously, this game last year drove him down not once, but twice to take a lead. The first time, Shane Waldron decided to hand the ball off to Doug Kramer, and that was a disaster. But, hey, came back down, did it again, gave him a lead with less than 30 seconds left, and then you gave up the Hail Mary, lost that game. 2024, erased a 3rd and 19 and a 4th and 3 to get a first down, put them in field goal position. With more than 30 seconds left, instead of trying to get an even closer field goal and trusting your quarterback, Matty Eberflus ran the clock down, and Cairo Santos had that field goal blocked, and they lost by 1 point. Against the Vikings the next week, down 2 scores late, forces overtime. Yes, in overtime, Caleb took a bad sack, and they lost, but he put them in position to have a chance. Against Detroit on Thanksgiving, leads a comeback, driving them down the field. I'll give him a small percentage of the pie in terms of not getting that playoff quick enough, but we all know Matty Eberflus should have called that timeout. They lost that game when at least they should have been in overtime. Week 18 against the Packers, they actually won that game when he led a 2-minute drive once again and got a game-winning field goal there. We saw it against the Raiders, calm 5-6-minute drive to take the lead and win that game as well. The point I'm making is look, is Caleb a finished product? Absolutely not. There's still some inconsistency things that over time should and we expect to get tightened up. But in big spots, 2-minute drills, gotta have it situations, as he calls it, I'm pretty confident in him. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. One, I think he is a big believer in himself, almost too much at times. But being overconfident at quarterback when you have the physical tools he has, I think is a good thing. And 2, I think a lot of it is just like, what was he doing in college? No huddle, shotgun, snap, go. You're not thinking, right? I mean, you're not literally not thinking, but like you're thinking less because you have to get the plays going quickly. So that's where he's really comfortable. And the good signs is he's improved in the other areas, just the slow it down, the huddles, the multiple play calls, the pre-snap checks. Like I've seen a lot of growth there, but those 2-minute drill spots, he's very comfortable because it's a lot of shotgun and you're just taking the snap and you're finding the matchup and you're delivering the football. He's very, very confident and comfortable in those situations. So, if you get to a spot here against Washington this weekend where you need to drive late, doesn't mean he's going to for sure deliver. You're not going to bat 1,000, but I feel pretty confident that he's going to give you a chance to win. So that is something that he clearly is comfortable with. And I think regardless of what side of the aisle you're on with Caleb Williams, you're lying to yourself if you don't think he's a pretty damn good player in crunch time situations, because he's proven it way more often than not that he's good in those situations. All right, do you trust Caleb Williams in crunch time, in clutch spots? Type T for trust or D for don't. I absolutely do. I feel great about him in those situations. We've seen it time and time again. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Chicago Bears Now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's show. Don't forget to subscribe on the way out. We will continue to get you guys ready for Monday Night Football. Bear down.